We're happy to have back on the show former U.S. Border Patrol Chief Ron Vitiello and former acting ICE Director Tom Homan. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Let's start with you, Tom. So Texas is not backing down, and we're also hearing that border officials are siding with Texas. Texas says it's going to keep putting the fencing back up. Tom, is it true border officials are siding with Texas? Is that what you're hearing?
That's what I'm hearing from my friends down there, because Texas is a force multiplier. What people need to understand, why Texas take control of that one area, it releases more Border Patrol agents to go to the unguarded areas, right? Because we know a big part of the border isn't being patrolled because the Border Patrol is overwhelmed. So whenever Texas takes over a small part, that means more agents will go to the areas where the fentanyl is getting through, or the gotaways are getting through. It lets them get back on patrol, lets them do their national security duties rather than being a welcoming party and Uber drivers to the airport. That is my sources saying they're grateful that the Texas DPS is standing up on them.
Grateful. So this to you, Ron Vitiello, the governors in half the nation siding with Texas. You know, when the media said the Supreme Court ruling was a victory for the Biden White House, but what Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick says, and we want to see, Ron, if you agree with this, and also Tom, the ruling actually does not explicitly say the razor wire fencing needs to be removed, just that federal border agents can cut it when they think it's necessary, and Texas looks like they can keep putting up the fencing. So the media looks like they were too fast out of the box. The Supreme Court is really just saying, Ron, we're waiting for the appeals court to rule on this before we decide.
That's correct. Thanks for inviting us, Liz. Border Patrol agents are not in the business of cutting razor wire on the southwest border, right? That's not what they do. You know, between Austin and Washington, there may be some turmoil, there may be some controversy, but the men and women on the ground in uniform of this country or in the Texas Guard are going to make it work down there. And so if they need to cut wire, it's only going to be to save somebody's life, and they're not going to do that if they have other access to the river. And it's said in your report that they can access the river on the boat ramp. And so it's really unfortunate that this administration is so derelict in their duty that Texas has to step up. And God bless Texas and those other governors who have gone out and said, you know, this is the right thing for Governor Abbott to do. I'm grateful, as we said earlier, that the men and women of the Texas Guard and the Department of Public Safety and Governor Abbott's team are down there, Operation Lone Star, helping our former colleagues, because they're super up against it. This is the worst surge we've ever seen, getting worse, and it's not going to change until we have a new president.
You know, to what Ron just said, you know, Tom, the White House is claiming Texas is playing games with border security. Texas Governor Abbott makes this important point. This is a safety issue. He's saying, quote, President Biden has enticed and incentivized illegal immigrants away from 28 legal entry points along the state's southern border where nobody drowns. And then he's enticing them to make the dangerous passing over the waters of the Rio Grande where they could risk drowning. So that this basically fencing is a deterrence to save lives. That's what's getting missed in the coverage here. Exactly.
And the Biden administration wants to keep saying their policies are humane. Well, let's see what Biden did. Since Biden has taken the White House, over 1,700 aliens have died crossing the border, an historic record. Over 112,000 Americans died from fentanyl coming across that border, an historic record. They've arrested over 300 people on the terrorist watch list on the southern border, an historic record. Under the Trump administration, 4 years had 11. An historic number of fentanyl is getting across, an historic number of women being sex trafficked. So President Biden has created the biggest national security issue failure since 9/11, because Border Patrol, the men and women of the Border Patrol, I think are American patriots, have arrested people from 181 different countries. Many of these countries sponsor terror. They've arrested 300 who's trying to sneak in. Now we're just shy of 2 million known gotaways. How many of them are terrorists? God bless Governor Abbott. He's protecting Texas. He's protecting this country from a huge national security vulnerability.
Yep. So what Tom just said, you know, the other thing too, Ron, is Andrew McCarthy. Tom makes important points there. Andrew McCarthy is saying it's President Biden, not Texas, breaking the law or defying the law. McCarthy says the states must comply with statutory law, not the whims of Biden's policy, when the White House he's saying is breaking the law here. What do you say, Ron? Final word.
Yeah, 100%. This president takes over, tears down all the control levels that were built by the previous administration with Tom and my help, And here are the symptoms of it. 300,000+ apprehensions in the month of December. Those are just encounters. That's not all the people that got away. That's not all the drug smuggling. It is not a coincidence that Americans are dying in record numbers at the same time of our borders out of control.
Got it. Ron Vitiello, Tom Homan, thank you so much, both of you, for joining us this Friday night.